I spent the last week or so visiting my former hometown, New York City, and it was a pretty bittersweet experience, noticing all the new scars and wrinkles, the graffiti on Washington Square Arch, and the shuttered doors of my local stationery store. But it was also really great to be in the hubbub of the city, and New York is definitely hubbubbing once again, despite the rumors of its demise. But I didn't really realize until I was on the street that I really missed the complexity of New York's brew, the layered accents, the aromas, the zillions of faces, many of them still masked. And I missed the wonderful art, though the Alice Neal show at the Met sated some of that hunger. And I got the rare pleasure of walking through the rooms of Van Goghs and Cézannes all alone. And the galleries of Chelsea, well, they were a bit of a dud. Their paintings all seemed to have been minted before the pandemic, and they felt kind of washed out and irrelevant, really, commenting on a reality that we no longer share. I'd been planning this trip for a couple of months, and I set it up not as a homecoming, but as the opportunity to shoot our next two workshops. And I'd been so looking forward to filming artists in their studios again, being there in person to watch them, to collaborate with them, and that part was worth the wait. But throughout this planning, I had felt this kind of growing sense of unease as my departure date got closer. And it manifested in my body, a pressure like right here at the base of my sternum. It was quite literally a gut feeling. And I kept asking myself, why? Why the queasiness? I've flown from the West Coast to the East Coast a zillion times before. I've even done it at the height of the pandemic last September. So I knew what I was going to encounter. I was versed in the changes that were happening into New York. And I know that I wanted to see my friends, my family still living there. And yet I felt this increasing sense of, well, terror. Much of the time that I was in New York, I constantly felt just a tiny bit unwell. And that queasiness expanded to nausea. I took Pepto-Bismol. I watched what I ate and drank. I wondered if maybe I'd eaten a bad mushroom at my old pizzeria, or maybe caught a stomach flu holding onto the subway pole. But when I landed back at the Phoenix airport and I drove back to our house, my tummy cleared up immediately. I was home and I felt in balance once more. Now, look, I'm kind of ashamed to share this story with you because, I've been a world traveler since I was in diapers, and suddenly I was transformed into a first-time tourist, gawping at the skyscrapers and clutching a homemade sack of bologna sandwiches. What in the name of Anthony Bourdain was going on with me? Well, here's my revelation, and maybe it'll apply to you too. When the lockdowns came, my wife and I set up a whole new life. We turned our new location, which is our sort of refugee house in Phoenix, into a bunker. And we hoarded groceries, we established new routines, we watched a lot of Netflix, we talked to the people that we love through this 12-inch Zoom screen. The bunker was our whole world, and in time we developed Stockholm Syndrome. We even wondered if the whole damn thing was just a computer simulation, and that we had actually died in the crash of our ill-fated flight to the West Coast in early March of 2020. But for more than a year, this insular behavior was what kept us safe and healthy. A year is a long time for inculcating a habit, and it's become second nature. Like a canary in a cage with a newly opened door, we were staying hunkered down no matter what was going on out there. And when I stepped out into the world, even though I knew in my brain that I was safe, in my gut, I was taking a huge risk that made me feel sick. There's a larger lesson in all of this, too, one that circles back to art making and to creativity. For most of our lives, the world teaches us that being an artist is as scary as New York when the graphs are spiking. There's danger all around. We can fritter away our abilities to make money. We can deceive ourselves with grand plans. We can face certain disappointment, humiliation even starving in a garret surrounded by unsold canvases and rejection notices and overdue bills. So instead, we hunker down in what we think is safety. We pursue the career that seems secure. We suppress our creative desires. Mistakes seem deadly. Dreams seem vanity. And we suppress that voice inside of us that wants to take adventures, to play, to taste forbidden fruits. And we think to stay alive, we must hunker. And every day the world tells us, yep, keep hunkering, keep to the path. And then the day dawns when we finally open the door. Our bags of art supplies are packed. We're ready to hit the road. We're out of school. The kids have left home. We've retired, whatever it is. We're finally free to call the shots for ourselves. But our years of confinement and safety, they're not that easy to leave behind. They're still inside of us. They're still woven into our very fabric. And when we start to draw, that little monkey inside begins to moan. And it squeezes our tummy and it churns our guts. And the monkey is trying to keep you safe. It's trying to tell you to stick to what's been the rule for so long. And it won't step down from its duty easily. But the monkey needs to work on a new perspective. And our guts need to get used to the water in strange lands, to the taste of exotic spices and strange fruit. And this is going to take time. But it will happen. Just as we can emerge from the quarantine, we can come out of creative hiding too. We can slowly move into the light. We're certainly going to falter and stumble here and there, but this is just a transition. In time, we'll stand erect and confident. We'll stride forth. We'll make our way. We'll own our own path. And our innards will adapt and the voices will quiet. All right, they're calling your group. Are you ready to board? I originally thought about this idea for my weekly essay. Each Friday, I email it out to some new piece that I've written to inspire you. And if you'd like to get them, sign up at dannysessays.com, and they're free. Oh, and please subscribe to this channel and like this video if you did, because it'll let you know when I post again, and it also helps us to spread the word about art to more folks. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next time.